As a rideshare driver, there is no secret that every trip you receive is not going to be profitable. So many drivers cherry pick. But can you make a decent income without doing exactly that? What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Driving without cherry picking, taking every damn trip that comes to you. Now, most would suggest this is the dumbest thing you could ever do, and eventually you would lead yourself to bankruptcy. Yours truly, I do believe that. But I'm starting to see more and more folks on social media, seeing articles being written, seeing folks coming in the comment section saying that they make a good living as a rideshare driver, accepting 98, 99% of the trips that are sent to them. What do you guys think? Do you think you could actually make money doing that shit? Because maybe I'm getting something wrong. I see a trip that requires I drive all the way across town and I'm getting $5. Fuck that. But folks are suggesting that as opposed to turning down those trips, and the time you waste sitting in one spot, cherry picking, perhaps with the engine running and things like that, you would do better taking those bullshit trips because they keep you moving and at least you're making something. So I wanted to find out from you folks, is your acceptance rate going up? Are you starting to see perhaps in your market where the trips that don't pay shit are coming in so often that you have to eventually take one of them, because if you cherry pick, you're going to be sitting in one spot all fucking day. This is what some drivers are suggesting, that instead of wasting your time cherry picking, get behind the wheel, take the damn trips, make your $200-$300 goal you set for yourself or whatever the case may be, and you can go home. And because you're not cherry picking and turning down so many damn trips, the amount of time you drive per day will actually be shorter. I make no qualms about it. I have a day job. I only drive part-time, particularly when there's surge pricing, earnings guarantees, or street bonuses. So I'm only going to be out 2 to 4 hours during a weekday anyway. So I'm starting to pay attention to what folks are saying, because if you're only out 4 hours, shit, usually when I'm out, I wouldn't deny that I probably lose a half hour of that time cherry picking, turning down a lot of shit that sucks. And then we know the fucking apps punish you when you cherry pick. You turn down 2 or 3 trips and then they stop sending you shit where you're sitting there, or you got to turn the app off or log out and log back in so that they can send you stuff again. People who accept trips 98% of the time don't have to deal with that, because they're going to constantly be sent trips because they're taking every damn thing that comes down the pipe. So is there some validity to it? Is there a possibility that you will do better earnings-wise by taking everything that comes to you? I have a hard time stomaching it. Even if the math shows validity to it, I think it would be hard for me to do. Because individually, I know these trips suck. Yeah, they may pay out over time. And I'll give you an example. When I'm involved in an earnings guarantee or a streak bonus, even then, I cherry pick. Now, with a streak bonus, you don't really get a lot of opportunity to cherry pick, because you got to do 3 trips in a row. You can only cherry pick generally on that first trip. And in my opinion, and I think a lot of veteran drivers would agree, the biggest profit with Uber and Lyft involves doing short trips. The longer the trip, the worse off you are. So when you got a 98% acceptance rate, you're taking some of those long ass trips too. And I'm like, fuck that. Driving a passenger 15 miles or more, I just can't do it. Driving 7, 8, 10 miles to pick somebody up, in my opinion, is a huge loss. I just can't do it. But if you're going to accept every trip, that means those are involved in that as well. With a streak bonus, the first trip, I make sure that trip is as short as possible before I get involved in a 3-trip, 5-trip streak. So I don't like to drive more than a mile or 2 to pick somebody up. And I really don't want to drive a passenger no more than 3, 5 miles max. I don't want anybody in my car longer than that, because like I said, the profit margin with Uber and Lyft gets worse and worse the longer the trip is. Also, when you're talking about them taking 50, 60, 70% of your fare, listen, if the trip pays $3 and they take 50, 60% of it, it's fucked up. But when you see that on paper, you're getting $3 and you hear that Uber or Lyft got $4.50 or $5 of the fare. As fucked up as that is, it don't look as bad as taking somebody a long distance and you getting $30 and finding out Uber or Lyft got $100. It starts to look, it's just hard, just the principle of it. To know I drove somebody from point A to point B and they made that much fucking money. So I have a hard time doing long trips from that aspect, because we know it's happening. Even if they don't tell you, all you got to do is ask your passenger. You get a 10-mile trip or more, ask your passenger how much they're paying for that trip, and you'll instantly realize, man, they're really, really ramming it up my ass. So I just don't take long trips from that aspect, but not cherry picking at all. I want to hear from you folks. 98% acceptance rate in making good money, where you feel more comfortable doing that than cherry picking. Same thing with with the earnings guarantees. Do 10 trips and we'll give you an extra 40, 50 bucks or whatever it may be. Once again, if you're dealing with earnings guarantees, you are far better off trying to ensure all of those trips, or at least the bulk of them, the majority of them, are short trips. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're not making money from the trip. Most of your money's coming from the earnings guarantee, the bonus they're going to add on. You're trying to get the bonus. You're not trying to get the money from the trips. So make sure that the trips are as short as possible, because you don't give a damn about the trips. At least that's my thinking. But I do believe that anytime you're working towards any incentive with Uber or Lyft, you do better with short trips, short distance to pick people up, short distances to drop people off. If you're going to be out in a heavy club area where people are clubbing on a Saturday night, where they're club hopping and shit like that, those are the best trips for that. Picking somebody up on a cold night, they get in your car from one bar and they're going to another one 3 or 4 blocks down the road. Pick them up. You're already sitting in the area waiting for trips. So the trip comes in, they're 0.2 miles from you. They get in your car and they're going 0.9 miles. Those are the perfect type of trips you want when you're dealing with an earnings guarantee or a streak bonus. I don't know any incentive that Uber has or Lyft where taking longer trips is better, other than when they used to have surge multipliers and shit like that. But all that stuff is gone. So what about you? Do you think you could do better? 80, 90, 95% acceptance rate, or are you still cherry picking? Right now, I'm still on the side of cherry picking. What say you? Once again, it's your boy. Subscribe to the channel. Click the like button. Catch you guys in the next video.